Kylie.
And I'm Corey.
And we are Lit Libations. Welcome to our little bonus episode.
Yeah, a little special episode about the Uglies movie. We wanted to talk about it. There's so many differences, so many opinions going around. We want to talk about it.
And we want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yes. I did a little TikTok quick video after I watched it. It was immediately coming off of watching it and just having a lot of emotions and feelings. Now that I've had some time to settle in, I'm ready to like fully talk about it.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the pros first?
Yeah, sure.
Let's talk about the pros. People don't like the CGI in it. I personally was very enticed by New Pretty Town.
Okay.
I found it very interesting. It was over the top. I think it was supposed to be over the top.
I did. It was magical and it was beautiful, but it was magical. It didn't really feel scientific. It felt like literal impossible stuff happening.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see what you're saying.
But I don't hate that. Like I want it to be, it needs to be enticing and like, it needs to have Uglies going up to the roof and looking over there with binoculars.
To be fair, though, like I feel like if people before cars were driven would have seen something where like cars were being driven like in some sort of display, they'd have been like, that's more magical.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this is 300 years in the future where technology is advanced so much.
Yeah.
I mean,
I love that. No, I'll buy it.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I'll say. Like, that's where I'm like, okay, I think it was good.
Yeah. That was New Pretty Town. Everything was fine. I didn't love the hoverboarding.
Okay, tell me why.
I just thought it was like way too fast. Like when Shay and Tally were on the bridge and hoverboarding away from the wardens, I'm like, that's insane. Like they're banking way too hard.
Oh, okay.
It was just like too much. Like it just felt like
unrealistic.
Yeah,
because they did say that they were going 60 miles an hour. That didn't feel 60 miles an hour. So that felt like 120 miles an hour.
Yeah, that was just like crazy. It was
I can
intense,
see that.
Which is like, yeah, I guess.
I like most of the casting. God, I'm gonna do it. I don't even care. It's not even because of my feelings for Joey King, because I just like cannot. Like really, I just don't personally like Joey King very much, and that's just I also, and I know this is actually a very true opinion for a lot of people, I don't think she's a very good actress. Like I just don't.
Yeah, I've never understood the hate. I've watched like her Netflix rom-coms. Like, wasn't she in The Kissing
Booth?
She's
a good rom-com actress, but this is not her like comfort zone. I feel.
So when I watched it, I was like, oh, okay. She's mostly just acting with her face. And like
very
overacting.
Expressive. Yeah.
So it was kind of noticeable. I did notice. Yeah.
However, I do love the casting for Shay.
Okay, yeah.
I liked Shay's actress. She actually, I feel like, made her more likable for me.
Yeah, she did.
Even though they changed a lot.
She did do a good job portraying Shay. I feel like she was acting better as well.
Croy was good. David is hot, and I think he could get there, but I don't think his acting was very strong. I think it was very mid.
Yeah. I agree. And also all the Uglies were way too hot.
Sure, but I think, and I've heard people say that was kind of the point, is that these people aren't actually ugly.
They're just normal people.
They're normal people, but like, and that's okay.
Yeah, but also like they are not normal people. They're extra beautiful.
The
actors and actresses.
Yeah, sure. I don't disagree. They are above average in attractiveness.
That's a good way to put it.
Just in general.
Yeah.
They're not like normal people. They are above average. I love Sussy and Dex.
Yeah.
Love them.
I did love them. They were great. I feel like they acted honestly the best.
They were like the best actors.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Loved it. I did love them. And Anne. Sussy, Dex, and Anne.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. They did a really good job. Okay. And of course I talked about it on our TikTok. The little cameos from Lucky Blue Smith was 1.5 seconds long.
No idea who that was. So
Nara
kind of don't.
Smith, the one that does all of the TikToks where she creates everything from scratch.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
I feel like I've liked a billion videos on our thing.
That's so crazy.
He was one of the most popular models for like 5 years in a row from like 2015 to 2020. He's like a very popular model.
I love when they they put on goggles to look across the river and they zoom in on his face and she's like, they're having so much fun. Everyone's smiling and like laughing, and he was like stone faced. Like, blue steel. He was not smiling or laughing. I
I
thought that was funny.
Chase Stokes was an interesting cast for Paris. I think I would have rather had him as Zane personally.
Ooh, yeah.
Because I think they could have utilized him more the way that they wanted to in terms of like
Screen time and
screen
stuff.
time.
Yeah.
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 Because I feel like that's why they had Paris's role be so
different.
Yeah, and so they wanted him obviously on screen so much. Like, why was he special? Why did they turn him into a special?
I don't know.
The whole point of Dr. Cable creating the Cutters, which we've now obviously talked about, they go more into in book 3.
Yes.
Which is younger specials, because typically they don't create specials that young.
Yeah, and she talks about that
first and foremost.
Yeah.
That's not a normal practice.
No.
And for Paris to be the first special, who
yeah, and the way that they did it,
he had one feeling.
Yeah,
he had one feeling.
Well, they brought him in because he had visited Tally before to convince her to go after Shay or whatever, go after the smoke, and then Dr. Cable brought him in and was like, "How was seeing Tally?" And he's like, "Yeah, like I felt things like I never felt before the operation." Yeah, and she's like, "Oh my god." I can make you feel like that all the time.
He's like, it felt normal. It felt like how I used to feel before. Yeah. And
that's just like a normal happenstance of one bubbly incident.
Yeah.
For all Pretties.
That's not how they make
special circumstance.
That is not a special circumstance. No, yeah. And also, I will say on a positive note, I'm glad that they confirmed in the movie that Paris had gone back because, like, under Dr. Cable's request, because I always assumed that Sol, Ellie, and Paris went back because Dr. Cable had like pushed that,
manipulated that. Yeah, but they never expressly said that. But in the movie, they did. She was like, "Thank you for going to talk to Tally for me," or whatever.
And I'm glad that they did.
Yeah, that was nice because we talked about that.
Because even now, I still feel like that was what happened. Mm-hmm. I think there's no way Paris
would have went on his own.
He
wouldn't, because he didn't care about Tally.
He was so much more cold to Tally too when she went to visit him. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I liked that or not.
Yeah. I don't really remember how it happened in the book.
He was basically like, he was like not in, how should I say this? He wasn't like excited to see her. He seemed distant.
Oh, he's
but
like, oh, Tally.
He cared enough to give her an escape that would work.
He helped her get out of there.
He helped her get out of there because he did want her to be there eventually.
Right.
And want to be friends with her eventually. So it was just like so cold. Almost like he was like, because she was like, we'll be friends when I'm here. And he's like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe we'll be once you're pretty. But like, I can't even think about that until you're pretty.
Yeah. I don't know. I actually I don't know if I hate that. I don't think I do. It's not like the hugest difference in the world. It's not like an end all be all.
That's fine.
It just was like, oh, because he did still care about her, kind of.
Yeah.
So that's crazy.
Did you catch the hint of romance between them?
Yeah, I did. And I'm not mad about it because I did feel it in the first book.
Okay.
I did.
I was, in the first book too, I was like, what's going on here? Like, what's the relationship status? What's going on? So yeah, I guess that makes sense. How do you feel about Dr. Cable being the district governor over New Pretty Town?
What the actual fuck? The way that this pissed me off in a way that I can't even express to you, like, it made no sense. And I think this ties into the way that they weren't ready to commit to this book as a whole, just in general. Mm-hmm. And listen, it's so hard with this book because I don't feel the whole point of it was to make everyone that was pretty or everyone that was special on a same playing field. So mm-hmm. the people that looked special were supposed to look similar.
Right.
The people that were pretty were supposed to look
and you could
one specific way, basically.
Spot the difference easily.
Yeah. They didn't commit to those things.
Yeah. At
all in the way that either of them looked.
And like race isn't an issue in that.
Because everyone was supposed to be like the same. And I get where that can be problematic because of this day and age.
But I feel like you can get around that with still being like respectful towards races and stuff.
Yeah.
You can still make them look similar.
Right.
Their facial features and stuff.
I agree.
And their heights.
Agreed.
They're built.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And they weren't prepared to commit to that. It literally looked like we stepped into Diego the second that we were in New Pretty Town.
There's no morphological standards.
There's no standards. Everyone's beautiful.
They're off the wall.
Well, everyone just looked like they had the bold glamour filter on, which
that is so funny.
Insane.
Like they make their eyes bigger, they make them like taller.
Their lips fuller.
Yeah.
Like Paris's like nose.
It was literally his nose.
The exact same thing. I think
they made it straighter.
It was barely.
Or maybe they made his ugly nose bumpier.
Yeah, I think they made it a little bit bumpier.
And then they just took it off.
And then they kind of took it, but it still had like that male like ridge, which is there's no
fine, yeah.
Yeah. But it wasn't the way that like they had they just didn't commit. Like they just needed to commit to the bit. Like if you're going to make this book, you got to commit. I'm sorry. Like that's the reason like movies like The Hunger Games are so good. It's because they committed to the book.
Yeah.
They committed to the hard stuff. They committed to it all.
Gosh, the Hunger Games movies are so good. No, but yeah, you're so right.
You know, it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
And anyways, besides the fact that Dr. Cable didn't look the way that she needed to look, where are the razor sharp teeth? Where are the razor sharp nails? Where are the things that makes her look like a wolf?
Yeah, that makes her look like she can jump on top of a building if she needed to.
That looks unsettling and terrifying to just look directly at, which, by the way, I feel like Laverne Cox would have been down to do prosthetics, to do something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, I think that they did with Laverne Cox, like some of the other specials that she had, like the one that drove her, I do feel like had maybe some sort of
he looked crazy.
Made him a little bit more, but
you're right, he was probably the best special.
The point is to make special circumstances is supposed to be a hidden like part of the government,
right, no one's supposed to know about them, and then in the movie they're at the forefront.
Yeah, and I think I said in the TikTok that like she was the main part of the book. I didn't mean the book. She was a public figure, and Dr. Cable's not supposed to be a public figure,
right? Yeah, until the third book,
because the things that she does is in the gray. So you can't be a public figure, because if any of those things were to come out or anything, like it's just like being a public political figure now, or maybe not now, back in like 2010s. If you had anything in the gray that was released to it's you operate in the gray. She operates in the gray. Yeah. Constantly and consistently. You can't be a public figure when you're operating in the gray. No. Or honestly in the black.
Yeah.
I mean, not even in the gray.
It's straight up morally wrong.
She is morally corrupt as a human being. So the fact that that's a political figure, besides even the way that Dr. Cable's supposed to look, is just wrong. Like that's not the point of her character.
Yeah, that was upsetting. And then whatever, I don't know. Yeah. What about the orchids? So in the beginning, Tally, she's like in class or something, talking about how the orchids were designed on purpose to power the cities.
I don't know if I hated that.
I don't mind it at all. I think it's whatever, because is it true? Do they power the cities?
No, I think it's just another way to show that the way that the city manipulates
and lies.
So I don't actually think that that's horrible.
I think that's fine. I don't care. But because we do learn later that it was a lie from the smoke.
Yeah.
So, and people were really harping on that and on the TikTok, and they just missed that, I feel like.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that was something that was like super.
It would have been a change.
Yeah. I do feel like Dr. Cable mentioning a weapon from the smoke is crazy.
Oh yeah. Okay. So when Dr. Cable pulled Tally in and be like, where did Shay go? I know you know. And then like made up all these lies about the smoke, and gave her the choice to turn pretty or to go save Shay.
Yeah. So there were a couple things that I think was wrong about this.
I didn't love that.
The first thing that I had said was because immediately, if she were to say that the smoke is creating a weapon, like automatically that's suspicious. As a person, if someone had said that to me, like, yeah, why is this? entity trying to create a weapon against you if they're, you know, when it seems like their whole point is to live on their own because they didn't like the lifestyle. Like, it just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense.
You need my help, like an ugly 16-year-old. Like, what am I going to do
for a giant weapon? Like, automatically, that's a red flag. That's going to implicate them when Tally inevitably is told the truth, which Dr. Cable has to know is going to happen. So first and foremost, that's just stupid because Dr. Cable would just never do that. She would never implicate herself in anything ever. No. Like, it just wouldn't happen. 2, the big point is that Tally is a morally gray character. She's not a savior. And I saw people say this online, and I think I agree with 100% on our TikTok.
Okay.
Tally didn't need the threat of a weapon or even Shay's like potential danger to be questioned for her to go do this. The biggest thing that had her go and try and like infiltrate the smoke was basically for her to turn pretty.
Yeah, she went to turn pretty.
Yeah.
Because they were withholding that from her.
That was really the only thing that made her go.
Truly, yeah.
Because it was her live on the outskirts of society, which is basically like living. It's not even a life. Like, you can't get a job, you can't get shit. Like basically die on the outskirts of society, like with being ugly, as an outcast, as like nothing, or go and save Shay and portray the smoke. Like, there's no other options. Like, that was enough to make her say, I'm going.
Yeah. Like, I don't want that. There are some people that are ugly for lives and they don't have good lives.
They're
ostracized.
That was what made her go.
Yeah.
Period. Point blank. End of story.
And it didn't need to be anything crazier than that.
No, it didn't. Because they tried to make her the savior character. They tried to make it so she went because she's trying to save her friend and in the town. And that's just not, that wasn't Tally the first book. It wasn't. Period.
Right. No.
Like.
And that's why she's so like interesting to read about, because she's not perfect and a hero all the time.
Agreed. Maddie explaining that there are 2 parts to the pills. So this was a very subtle part, but when this,
I don't think I caught that,
irritated me to no end. So, I can't remember when it happened. It was when Maddie and Az were talking, and also like towards the end of the book, Maddie kept talking about how there was 2 parts of the cure.
Oh my gosh.
And that they needed 1 part from Dr. Cable, but like
they didn't have everything that they needed.
Right. They explained that they didn't have everything that they needed in the books, but it was not explained that there were 2 parts to the cure.
Yeah.
Which is a huge point, obviously, in the second book, because that's the reason that Tally doesn't take both pills.
Right.
It was never explained that there are 2 separate parts to the cure.
So they panicked and each took one
and separated them. Yeah. So that right there just completely eliminates a whole ass part of the second book, unless they're going to make Tally the stupidest person in the world and just like splitting it for fucking no reason.
Well, okay, let's jump to the end real quick. In her turning pretty, she's walking through her new like
don't even
her new room, and the room is talking to her, and then she looks at her hand. Did she have a scar still?
She had a scar.
Okay, she had the scar still.
She had a scar.
And did it implicate that the surgery didn't work on her mind? That she was an ugly. I feel like that's what they were getting at. She was ugly minded.
That she was still there. Yeah.
That she didn't have to think through it, and that eliminates
the whole plot of the second book.
Yeah. So what are they going to do there?
The entirety of the plot of the second book. What would be the purpose of Zane?
There wouldn't be.
What would be a purpose of Zane? What would be the point of trying to get what is the purpose at that point?
Maybe she meets Zane and tries to make him a bubblehead. I don't know.
So fucking irritating, dude.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The small changes.
But then what's crazy about that, then she meets Zane, and then what, she falls in love with Zane. The only reason that Tally falls in love with Zane is because she thinks David abandoned her.
Right. Which she let go of him.
Brings me to my next point. Tally outing herself while they're all still in the smoke, giving plenty of time for her and David to pretty much reconcile as they're going to save the people from the smoke. That was the whole reason Tally fell for Zane, is because she didn't get to have that conversation with David. Yeah. And when he didn't come to retrieve her, to kidnap her
from New Pretty Town,
she assumed that he didn't forgive her and that he didn't want anything to do with her, which is why she decided to pursue a relationship with Zane.
And she closed that off.
So basically that entirety, everything that they've set up at this point basically just completely like alienates Zayn's character completely. Like they could cut his character, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Like,
that's so
because what's
confusing
the
because
point?
like if they do get greenlit for another movie, where is it going to go? I don't know. I have no idea.
I have no idea.
No clue.
It's not going to go where the book took it.
No.
I don't think.
No.
It's stupid. It pisses me off.
Okay. So like all the little things that they changed, like the hoverboards, like closing up on himself and falling on the ground.
Yeah.
And them carrying their hoverboards in the rusty ruins.
Yep.
When they
carrying their
boards at all
in the rust is crazy work. I'm sorry.
It's an insane thing. And they climbed up the tower in the rusty ruins and like to go see David or whatever.
That's impossible, first of all.
Well, why? And then Shay just rides off the edge when she goes to meet David. Like they could have just rode up there. Like I don't understand the point of that. They could have been talking and hoverboarding. Maybe it was like CGI budget. I don't know. But
they couldn't have paid for just like like 10 minutes more of CGI. No.
They should have got rid of the hoverboarding park thing. I
agree.
And
they could have
hoverboarded in the rusty ruins.
I agree.
The power jack that they used to bring up the railroad ties in the book, it was manual in the movie. Things like that.
I'm obsessed with the fact that you noticed that because I would have never noticed that.
Oh my gosh.
No, I do get it though.
Like their crash bracelets, the bungee jackets when she jumped off Garbo Mansion and like jumped one time, landed in a sprint.
Yeah.
It was so silly. Like, why can't you have her bouncing down up in a pleasure garden like it happened? I think that would have been cooler.
It's just like stupid shit like that just like really irks my soul.
And how the crash bracelets, when it caught her, it was like she was like in a flying position, like in a skydiving falling position when she should have been like hanging by her arms.
Yes. What? But yes. Such
silly things
easy
like
shit.
That. Silly things.
Or the fact that when she put the pig mask on and it changed her entire outfit when that was the one thing that made people see that she wasn't dressed for the right situation. She's
what was up? Yeah, that was super magical.
It was so fucking stupid.
That was silly. And she's like, Peris, it's me, and takes off her mask. And then
she's
her
like,
outfit goes back to ugly.
I was like, if you're gonna kill me now.
Silly things like that.
So fucking stupid. All right, I have a big one. Az's death.
Oh, Az's death.
I could talk about this for an hour.
Yeah.
It pisses me off so much.
Okay, so special circumstances don't want to hurt the Smokies. They want them all to turn pretty. They want them all bubbleheads. They don't want to hurt people.
And Az and Maddie are good doctors, like very good doctors. Maddie was on the Pretty Committee, which is a very prestigious,
like huge,
essentially an award. Like it's an honor to be on this board. They're very good doctors. Dr. Cable didn't want them to die. She wanted them to forget that they had found the lesions.
And and that was how Az died. Dr. Cable experimented on him to take away his memories, and he ended up dying. And the fact that he died in an experiment is also very important. Because
he hadn't given consent, and their whole thing is that we do anything that the Smokies do is with consent. And at every step of the way.
They act with that much morality, at least.
The Cutters, they all got consent for when they gave them the cure, like prior to being Cutters. Tally, they got consent for. Everything they did with Zayn was with consent. So that's a big thing. That's a huge, huge theme for the Smokies is they have a better moral compass. And really just what irks me about Az's death is the fact that they did it to lure out David and Tally, just to turn around and have them basically just to have Tally out herself and have them escape fucking 5 seconds later. I was like, do you want me dead in a fucking grave by just absolute annoyance? Because it's about to happen.
Because I'll do it.
I'm sick.
Yeah.
I was sick.
That was too much.
I fear that was the worst death I've ever seen on any movie, television ever. And I've watched Sharknado.
Special circumstances' goal is not to kill people or to be like menaces like that. They just want control.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Their motto is, I don't want to hurt you, but I will if I have to.
They missed the whole point, like of the whole thing.
Yeah.
The Rangers not being the people that.
Yeah, the Smokies. Like, where'd you get helicopters?
Where did you get helicopters?
You have to have help from other cities.
Yes.
That was so silly.
So also, what are they going to say, that they had help from Diego the entire time if they ever get
probably.
to a third movie?
Who knows?
That's the only thing that they could say.
I love that Shay. How long was Shay in the smoke before Tally got there in the movie? Like,
oh, it couldn't have been
4
more
days.
than a week.
Yeah, and she's already on the flamethrower in the helicopter.
She knows how to do the flamethrower. Ridiculous.
That was funny.
Ridiculous. And why were the specials like so close to the smoke the whole time?
It doesn't make sense, because if that were the case, they could easily have found the smoke.
They could have so easily found the smoke.
They could have just chased the Uglies as they're running away, like Tally did with Zane in the 3rd book.
I mean, what the fuck?
It's like so ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. They put trackers in all of their boards, right? David saw Tally's tracker and was like, "Oh, you have a tracker," and she's like, "Oh my god, I didn't know that was there. I swear." And he's like, "Relax, like literally all of them has it." And then Dr. Cable was like, that she's at the meeting point, move in. Like, they don't know where the meeting point is.
Yeah.
Like, every board doesn't have a tracker.
Yeah. It's just stupid. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
And that would have been a red flag in and of itself, because like, I mean, I guess maybe that's how they had specials track it all over the point, at all points, because it wouldn't make any sense for them to. Yeah, what the trackers? I mean? Now I'm like, I'm completely. Because like they knew how to dismantle the trackers to where the people in the city did not know where they were. Yeah. That's the whole point of having Maz and Addie. Az and Maddie. That's the whole point. They know how those things work. Right. No, that's fucking stupid. I didn't even think about that. That's dumb as hell.
Yeah, when they get there, her tracker is like destroyed or something. I don't know what. Oh yeah, he throws it in the fire and it gets destroyed. And then Dr. Cable's like, she's at the meeting point. Confirmed, like every other runaway that you've ever like sent didn't go through that as well. Yeah. And then the specials.
No, but it doesn't even make sense because the people in the smoke know how those tracking devices work. That's the whole frustration with her tracker thing, is because if she just would have told them, they could have diverted.
They could have put it on a bird. Yeah, migrating south.
Migrating south. Yeah. What the fuck? I actually never thought about that.
Yeah, that was crazy. Because it just, to me, it always felt like pretty easy for if special circumstances really wanted to find the smoke, they could have put their mind to it and did it.
They wanted to, they would.
Yes.
Like every man.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I don't disagree. Yeah.
That always was a thought for me during the books. And then it was like, I was thinking about it during the movie a lot.
Well, yeah, I feel like that, it just kind of completely like, I mean, because that for me showed that the Smokies were smart. Yeah. That Maddie and Az didn't just go out in the wild for nothing. Like, you know, they knew how to divert
20 years.
Without being caught. So obviously they had knowledge of how like they were being tracked and things like that. So just them being so reckless.
Yeah. And then they pick up Tally in the white weeds, and then there's 2 specials like running after them.
Literally, what the fuck?
And their suits are glowing.
And they're not like worried about that. Yeah, their suits are glowing.
They're supposed to be
what happened to the stealth?
Yes, they're supposed to be stealthy.
What about Shay like acting as if the fact that Tally was unsure about the smoke was like the end all be all? Like, oh yeah, that they like if anyone found out that she was unsure, she was gonna get kicked out. Like, they,
and
like
she wanted her to leave.
Normally doesn't. Like, they let people come and go as they please. They don't like, their whole point is they aren't a prison.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal if you want to leave. If you end up wanting to leave,
right? What about that? Like, that was crazy to me. She's like, if you're not sure, you have to go.
Yeah, I don't know. But they're just trying to like create conflict between them, because you didn't need to, because it was there everywhere. It was everywhere.
Yeah. Well, and I heard someone say that they saw the jealousy with David.
Oh yeah.
I don't think they. Okay. I saw it in a very subtle nature. It was so much more blatant in the books. Yeah. Like, it was like Shay came up to her and was like, you got the gloves and
It was about
like,
the gloves,
you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, you take them. I don't want them. You know, it's just, please just tell him that you're waiting for someone. Like, you want someone to come. You're waiting for someone. Like, she was desperate. Like, she wanted David so bad.
Oh.
And like, they made her kind of like not that.
Yeah. In the movie, what was it?
She was like, it's unfair to David and it's unfair to me if you haven't decided on the smoke.
Yeah.
It was more about her decision to stay or leave.
Just make a decision, stay or leave or whatever. But then she said something that contradicted that. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I don't really either. But like, it wasn't about David though.
It
really.
wasn't, you know. It wasn't as obvious.
But that was the whole point of like why Shay even like thought Tally was the reason for the smoke being discovered in the first place, and her whole jealousy like really underlined, and it started with David.
It started there.
That was where the conflict started.
I don't know. Even when I try to like write these off as like maybe they only planned on making one movie, but it ends like on a cliffhanger.
It does.
Like they have room for one more.
At least.
Yeah, at least. Yeah. So I don't know. I can't explain those things.
No, it really, and I said this somewhere, I think in the comments, like it reminds me of George R.R. Martin, where George R.R. Martin was talking about how they changed some of the scenes from the book. They made them kind of watered down a little bit. They took certain characters out. They don't plan on keeping certain characters in. And George R.R. Martin was frustrated with it because he's like, taking out those characters, not including those characters, or killing off characters or changing things, it has a snowball effect. There's a reason that I wrote things the way that they were written. There's reasons that like cause and effect of certain situations that other situations have. And oftentimes like screenplay writers or you know, people that are doing the adaptations think that they can do better in the visual adaptations, and they rarely, if ever, do. Yeah. And it's beyond frustrating to be excited to see your work basically get turned into like a bit, and then it just
like fanfic.
It falls short.
And then it deviates from the story like at so many junctions that it just becomes its own thing, and it's not even what you're hoping it is.
It will never not remind me of that, because it's the first time I've ever really seen like a writer of a book series like really express the frustration of something that is turned into like a visual work, whether it's a movie or a TV show, and just be disappointed, because I can't imagine that writers are not disappointed
when you're selling that work, your works to them to turn it into something, and then it's not what.
Well, and the reason that these things already have a built-in audience is because a majority of the people that are going to go watch these movies or TV shows are readers. Right. Like that's what the built-in audience is. So why not cater to your already like majority audience that are going to come see the movie, going to go watch the TV show? I just don't get it. You're catering to people that have never read the book series, and that's not a majority of your audience. So what are we doing?
Yeah, I really wish reason? I knew. I don't know.
I wish never understand.
I wish we could get like an Uglies series that was like futuristic, sure, but like set in the 80s, where they have like the fashion from the 80s, but like in their dorm rooms and stuff. Because Tally's dorm room looked like a cell. Like a prison cell.
I'll be honest. I don't think that Uglies could have been made. Cool. I don't think it's enough material to be made into a TV show. Personally,
I think it could be. I think you could expand on some characters and fill some gaps.
Sure, but it would have been.
It probably would have never been greenlit. Is that what you mean?
No, I just don't think it would have been authentic to what Scott Westerfeld wrote. Like, I think you could expand, but I don't know if it would have captured the essence of like what the books were about, because we already see it being made into a movie and it wasn't at all. Right. I hesitate when things are made into TV shows. Like, you've got to have the source material. It's the same type of things like when we saw like Game of Thrones, right? Like, where it's like as soon as we ran out of book source material, the fucking TV show went to shit, because no one's gonna understand
his mind,
the mind of the writer, outside probably more so like of the writer,
right?
And so
also, when you deviate from the source material, you're getting something that's just not true.
It's just not true to what. I mean, you have to be really talented in order to do that, and I'm sure there are people out there, but you know.
Yeah.
That's not who they're hiring.
The Last of Us
so
did it
mean.
really well.
The Last of Us did a really wonderful job because they stuck to source material.
Yeah, and you didn't even play the video game. It's a video game.
I've seen TikToks.
But I'm just saying, like, they did it. The creator of the video game was like working very closely on set. He didn't care what people thought. He did it his way, and I think that's wonderful. Why can't more people do that?
I don't know. I don't know. And that's not. It wasn't even a book. That was a fucking,
a video game.
A video game. Do it to the book. There's.
Whenever someone says that, it's about like scheduling conflicts with the actors and like budget, but like it really, you can work around it.
Well, and it's like then hire new people. Like there are so many up and coming people that like young, go to
lesser known actors that don't have as much work.
Oh my God, I'm sure there are a billion and that probably don't even require as much pay, that are just looking to kind of get their names out there.
Yeah,
that would be
and they would work
very
harder.
Strong. That would work harder. That wouldn't have fucking scheduling fucking conflicts. That probably would be wonderful. And people would still go to see this movie.
Those are good movies,
regardless of the big names
of the cast. I didn't even realize it was John B. from Outer Banks until your TikTok.
Yeah, and you could still have Chase Stokes be fucking.
And I love him.
Be Peris,
in Outer
but
Banks.
Just give him the right amount of screen time.
Right.
There's your fucking scheduling conflicts issues right there.
Yeah.
Give him the right amount of screen time. Joey King could have been fucking anyone else.
Sussy.
I liked my Sussy.
Don't replace Sussy.
Don't replace Sussy. She could have been again. Not in the movie, no.
Oh God. I mean, she did like make it happen because she was a huge fan of the books.
Oh, is that what it was?
Mm-hmm. And it has been, I remember like, I don't know how long the rights to this movie has been like jumping from like hand to hand for
I didn't know
years
that.
and just like never happened. And I guess she had a big hand in it actually happening.
Oh, okay. Well, mad respect to her, I suppose, for that specifically.
Well, that's something. I guess that's something.
It is. No, it is. It is. That is a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a really big deal. I mean, maybe I wish I wouldn't have seen it because it was really bad, but
I don't know. I think they just tried to sell out a little, especially using like, who was Lucky Blue Smith?
Yeah.
And then
I didn't hate that.
Bree
I'm sorry.
from Selling Sunset.
Bree from Selling Sunset was she was terrible. Even her
I could have done
5 lines that she had, they were just bad. She looked uncomfortable. As
she was
fuck.
in the same position the whole time.
Here's the thing, I loved it because Selling Sunset just came out, and obviously like everyone's riding a Bree high because she was like I would say a star of the last season. I'm sorry, but she just can't act. Like she had 4 lines, and I was like, she looks like she's so unbelievably uncomfortable.
That's hilarious. Anything else you can think of?
No, I don't think so.
We covered the specials. Peris becoming special is crazy. I really don't know what his role will be in the next movie, if there is one.
I think what's sad is that people are like, this is the best adaptation I've seen in a long time. And I think that says something for
adaptations.
Adaptations.
Yeah.
And maybe it is. Maybe it is one of the better adaptations. But isn't that something that's so unbelievably disappointing?
Yeah. Like what does that say about these producers or whoever's in control of the way, like the outcome? Like, what is it, an ego thing
where the adaptations are literally
like so hard,
like our expectations are so unbelievably low that like this is considered a good adaptation.
Yeah,
that's fucking insane. And it's one of the reasons why I for a long time, it's one of the reasons I love the Harry Potter movies. It's a big reason I never wanted to read Harry Potter, because I didn't want them. Twilight is my guilty pleasure in both ends, and they're good in their own separate ways. But if you're comparing, it's fucking terrible. I hate reading books that get adapted into movies or TV shows, because it's always a disappointment. It's always a letdown because they just can't stick to fucking source material.
Yeah. I thought the Hunger Games did a good job.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. And Jennifer Lawrence killed it. That's a good book to movie adaptation. If you want to see a good book to that is
maybe that was the last one that we got,
that we'll ever get.
maybe
ever in the world. Yeah, I guess we'll see. Okay, yeah, that's all we have for that, I suppose. Now that we're done with that little fun rant.
That was the Uglies movie. I did watch it 2.5 times.
Oh my God, I'm going to tell you right now. I've watched it once. I don't think I'll ever watch it again.
Yeah, no, I'm probably good. I'm probably good. So thank you so much for making it this far if you did.
Yeah. I hope that you liked
the movie.
I hope you liked our podcast
and our review of it
and our little extra. If you like these, if you want maybe some extra stuff about I don't know, movies and adaptations, because we have been sticking to more so like adaptations, popular, things here and there, whatever. If you want like an additional stuff where we compare books to movies, specifically talking about the shows or movies, then let us know.
Yeah, we could do Bridgerton. That would be a really good one to do.
Yeah, we could go deep dive into Bridgerton.
Yeah,
you'd have to like fully watch
podcast.
it. Yeah.
I'd have to watch it all.
You'd have to fully watch
and
the
like
whole
put
thing.
my phone down while I watch it.
But that's okay. We can figure it out.
Yeah, that sounds fun. Let us know.
Oh, all right. Well, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please email us at litlibationspodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and we'll see you next episode for our regularly scheduled programming.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Bye.